You are in the market for a sports car. You might not have a lot of money, and you want a car that should not have many major repairs down the line. Well, you came to the right place. Buying a car with minimal issues all while being a bit sporty is very much possible. Today, I have a few options that will be easy to maintain, be reliable, and they are great platforms to just get into cars. This goes without saying, but these cars are a lot to handle, so if you cannot control yourself, then I would not grab one of these. Welcome to AutoMotivate. If you're new, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell if you want to know more about cars. Here are 5 of the best for sports cars for students, all under 10K. Let's get started. Number 1 is the C5 Corvette from 1997 to 2004. Since the C5 Corvette is made between 97 and 04, a lot of the interior is made up of cheaper plastics, like any early 2000s American car. Where the Corvette lacks an interior, it makes up in the stock performance that it guarantees. Chevy's famous LS1 engine is in many of their cars, including the C5 Corvette, and has a 175 miles per hour top speed. These engines are well known for the power and reliability, and it is not uncommon to see these motors running way past 300,000 miles. Not only is the Corvette already stocked with performance bits, it's also a great setup to modify. Slap on some new heads and lightly turbo it, and you'll probably see close to 600 horsepower. The Corvette can be found with over 100,000 miles under $10,000. This one's going for $9,500 with only 90,000 miles, and it's with a manual transmission. Here are some known issues with the Corvettes: anti-theft, locking the steering wheel if the key is inserted improperly, leaks from the target tops if you get a target top Corvette, some sensors going out, which is typical with older cars, tires going bald way too fast, which isn't an actual issue. 1997 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra. The Cobra is wielding a 4.6 liter engine, which is Ford's equivalent to Chevy's LS engine. As expected, they also put these engines in just about everything. Well, at least a 2-valve version. The Cobra wields the 4-valve version, which debuted in 1993, and it has much more horsepower compared to the 2-valve that's in the Mustang GT. But there is a lot of argument as to which motor is better, because you can build a 2-valve motor to handle a lot of ponies. There are several of them reaching 1,000 horsepower. Anyways, if you want a solid sports car with a good amount of power right out the box, the Cobra has you covered. But the shortcomings of the Cobra is that the internals of the engine can only withstand about 8 pounds of boost reliably, but you could add some bolt-ons to potentially hit 400 horsepower. If you are wanting to push more power with this durable iron block that can handle up to, if not a bit more than 1,000 horsepower, you will have to throw in some high performance forged engine components. These cars love both the track and they love to slide around. The best part about this car is that you can tell people that you own a Cobra. What are the typical issues? Squeaky noise while turning due to worn outer tie rods, plugs potentially getting spit out of the head if they are not torqued correctly, rough idle due to a stuck EGR, oil leak from the oil filter bracket, coolant leaking from the cheap plastic intake manifold, which can be replaced with an aftermarket metal one. And of course, like any cheap typical American car, cheap plastics breaking. 2013 Scion FR-S. All FR-S's in the US came with a Tursan LSD. Yes, this car is pretty much identical to the Subaru BRZ, but the Scion is easier to find and cheaper compared to the BRZ, all due to the nameplate. I'd rather have a Subaru than a Scion in my personal opinion, but regarding these cars, they are all the same platforms. Anyways, it is what it is, and it is still a badass car. It does not pack a lot of power, but these are going to be in my opinion, the next drift missiles, and they are really easy to modify. And probably one of the better cars to start modifying due to its simplicity. And to be honest, if they had a bit more power, I definitely want to grab one myself. And this is probably the best sports cars for the money in regarding to the year and the quality that you are getting. Comfortable seats, a 4-cylinder that has 200 horsepower, an LSD, decent gas mileage, and is a pretty good as a daily driver and on the track. This one is selling for $8,500 with 116,000 miles. But is it all too good to be true? What are the issues of the Scion FR-S? The early 2013 models had an issue with the injector seal melting. An ECU flash will fix this, and it should have already been fixed. Fuel pressure regulator failing prematurely, which should also be fixed under warranty already. Throwout bearing going out, which should also been fixed under warranty. Oil leak, under warranty. And the oil control actuator going out at about 55,000 miles. And that's not a hard thing to fix yourself. 2001 Honda S2000. Who wants a 2-door convertible sports car with Honda reliability, right? I mean, who wouldn't? Honda ended the production in 2009 due to declined sales, but if you're wanting a car that was developed by Formula One engineers, then here it is. It is a quick 2-seater with great handling, braking ability, and it plainly just looks awesome. For the early 2000s, Honda's interior was still relatively cheap, but they were still miles ahead of most American sports cars. The seats are bolstered, the steering wheel feels aggressive, and you have a seating position that allows you to truly command the car. Arguably, one of the most badass things about this car is the 9,000 RPM red line. And the other is that this Honda, which is typically a front-wheel drive car, is rear-wheel drive. And you can drift it if you want to. Imagine your car screaming through the carved roads and the mountains. That is where this car belongs. Before you mention in the comment section, yes, you can grab yourself a cheap Mazda Miata for about $2,000 and sink in $8,000 and have a better driver's car. You could. But this Honda S2000 is right out of the box, a pretty performance-oriented car that is really planted to the streets. This one is going for $9,500 with 155,000 miles, and these cars can easily hit 300,000 miles. It is a beautiful looking car. But here are the issues. The S2000 can burn or eat up 1 liter of oil per 1,000 miles. So keep a close eye on that oil level. And keeping the engine topped off is really all you need to do to keep this car lasting 300,000 miles. And you can add an oil catch can that has been reported to fix this issue. The clutch making a buzzing noise, which does not cause any harm to the car, and you can drive it like that. Cracked retainers due to poor maintenance. The Honda S2000's value is just now rising, so if you want the Honda S2000, grab it now. 2000's Pontiac Trans Am WS6. Yes, this Trans Am is wielding in the LS1, and you can have a manual transmission. The WS6 package has a functional ram air hood scoop that helps cool air enter directly into the engine, and a less restrictive exhaust, which allowed this car to make more power compared to the stock form. This car is quick. It is an old GM product, so expect a rough idle, and cheaply made plastics like mentioned before. It does have skip shift gear, which is slightly annoying to help you save on gas. And it has a large blind spot. Overall, for the money, this car is worth every single penny. It's very unique looking, and it has a reliable LS1. This one is going for $9,000 with $132,000. A lot of people do not like the look of these cars, but I can beg to differ. Here are some issues. There is a good bit of clones out, so make sure there is a WS6 label on the sticker in the door jamb. If it isn't there, it's a clone. Plastics in the interior breaking due to harsh sunlight, it's cheap plastics. The drivetrain was built to handle its power for a long time, so the main components that may need replacing is the suspension and bushings, if it hasn't been done already. And it's an LS engine, so expect it to be reliable. It's that simple. Guys, that's about it. All these cars are pretty reliable and can be found under $10,000. The Trans Am and the Honda may take time to find a good deal, but patience is virtue. If you enjoyed and this helped you out, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and press the notification bell to keep up to date with all my future content. This is Chris AutoMotivate. Always appreciate one another. I'll see you next time.